January 21, 2018. 15-year-old British lad revealed to have given Trump roadmap to destroy deep state. An astonishing new you couldn't believe it if it wasn't true. Foreign intelligence service SVR report circulating in the Kremlin today states that the Central Criminal Court of England and Wales, commonly referred to as the Old Bailey, lifting the Official Secrets Act restrictions this past week placed on a case involving British teenager Kane Gamble, shockingly revealed that this lad, when he was 15 years old, single-handedly unleashed an 8-month reign of chaos upon the highest echelons of the Obama regime's U.S. intelligence services, most astoundingly to include this child's accessing details of 20,000 FBI employees whose text messages have provided the roadmap President Donald Trump has been using to destroying his deep state enemies attempting to oust him in a palace coup. According to this report, in late 2015, when the 2016 U.S. presidential election campaign was nearing its primary voting season to determine who would become the Republican and Democratic Party nominees, the dark web began to be inundated high-level U.S. top-secret classified documents, emails, private telephone messages and intelligence computer tools, and that Wired magazine reported was due to the hacking of a never-before-heard-of group going by the name of Crackers with Attitude. A fortnight prior to President Trump assuming power, though, this report continues, the Obama regime, on January 6, 2017, announced that it had destroyed the Crackers with Attitude hacking group by their securing the guilty pleas of American citizens 22-year-old Andrew Otto Boggs and 24-year-old Justin Liverman, and with Liverman publicly taking credit in U.S. federal court for his compromising the email account of CIA Director John Brennan and supplying the stolen emails to WikiLeaks for publication, but upon whose guilty pleas, had the SVR noting an anomaly in this case relating to a 15-year-old British teenager whose arrest exactly coincided with those of Boggs and Liverman, but whose details were immediately placed under the restrictions of the Official Secrets Act. As to why the actions of a 15-year-old British teenager had to be placed under the restrictions of the Official Secrets Act, this report details, was shockingly revealed just days ago in the Old Bailey when Kane Gamble, now 18, admitted that he alone, and not the two American citizens forced to plead guilty by the Obama regime, was solely responsible for illegally obtaining the emails of CIA Director John Brennan and releasing them to WikiLeaks, and that he was able to accomplish without ever leaving his childhood bedroom in Leicestershire, and his, also, stunningly admitting that he didn't even technically hack into U.S. intelligence systems, but rather used social engineering, manipulating people into doing what one needs done to find and release many of the Obama regime's most highly kept secrets. Using his social engineering skills alone, this report notes, 15-year-old British teenager Kane Gamble, from his childhood bedroom spy lair, conducted one of the most massive intrusions into the U.S. intelligence community ever known, and whose 8-month rampage saw him stealing some of America's most highly classified secrets, terrorizing all of the Obama regime's top intelligence officials and their families, placing pornography on the computers of top U.S. intelligence officials, and, most importantly, his obtaining the classified tools and text messages of 20,000 FBI employees, and whose top Obama regime targets included CIA Director John Brennan, Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Jeh Johnson, FBI Deputy Director Mark Giuliano, FBI Agent Amy Hess, Director of the Office of Science and Technology John Holderan, Intelligence Executive of the U.S. National Geospatial Intelligence Agency Vanna Weerheeden, and White House Deputy National Security Advisor Avril Haines. With every intelligence agency in the world having dark web access to the FBI's classified text message system, and the tools used to operate it, thanks to British teenage master spy Kane Gamble, this report continues, It is no wonder that National Security Agency Director Admiral Mike Rogers rushed to see President-elect Trump nearly immediately after the 2016 election without informing President Obama that he was doing so, and that caused both Defense Secretary Ash Carter and Director of National Intelligence James Clapper to urge Obama to immediately fire him. President Obama, as one of the deep state shadow government leaders, however, this report explains, knew it would be useless to fire NSA Director Admiral Rogers, as Trump already knew at that time the full details of the coup plot against him, and in knowing that these FBI texts showing the plot against Trump would eventually be revealed to the American people, saw the deep state embark upon the most destructive propaganda war against a U.S. president ever seen in history, and whose ultimate goal is to destroy Trump's reputation so that they can claim that the crimes committed by the FBI against him were justified because they had to protect America from being taken over by a racist white supremacist mentally deranged sexual predator who is near death because of his eating 2 scoops of ice cream instead of 1. His love of Kentucky Fried Chicken and McDonald's Big Mac hamburgers, and his drinking too much Diet Coke, and who, in case anyone hasn't heard this in the past 5 minutes, is controlled by Russia too. The latest deep state attack upon President Trump, this report further details, is his being pummeled by the U.S. mainstream propaganda media for his allegedly calling some poverty-stricken dictatorships shitholes, but with these anti-Trump fake news purveyors, at the same time, failing to note that this is the exact same word just used by top Democratic Party leader Ken Martin to describe the Obama-Clinton Democratic National Committee DNC, and who this past week said of DNC leader Tom Perez, clearly Tom inherited a shithole, not just in fundraising but in terms of morale as well. To what this deep state attack against President Trump is masking, though, this report explains, is the greatest political crime ever known in America, and that involves what has been gravely named as the insurance policy designed to enact a palace coup, and whose plot outline is now contained in a highly classified document called the memo, and that, after having been read by U.S. Congressman Steve King, caused him to shockingly declare, "I have read the memo." The sickening reality has set in. I no longer hold out hope there is an innocent explanation for the information the public has seen. I have long said it is worse than Watergate. It was never Trump and always Hillary. With the world-renowned American war correspondent Sarah Carter having just warned that the memo will, most certainly, result in the removal from office of many top U.S. intelligence officials, some of whom she says may be jailed from their crimes. To this report continues an international team of investigative reporters assembled and led by Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Glenn Greenwald are now demanding that the memo be immediately released to the American public, and who in their plea state, one of the gravest and most damaging abuses of state power is to misuse surveillance authorities for political purposes. For that reason, The Intercept, from its inception, has focused extensively on these issues. We therefore regard as inherently serious strident warnings from public officials alleging that the FBI and Department of Justice have abused their spying power for political purposes. Given the significance of this issue, it is absolutely true that the memo should be declassified and released to the public. President Donald Trump and congressional Republicans have the power, working together or separately, to immediately declassify all the relevant information. And if indeed the GOP's explosive claims are accurate, if, as U.S. Congressman Steve King says, this is worse than Watergate, they obviously have every incentive to get it into the public's hands as soon as possible. Indeed, one could argue that they have the duty to do so. As to why President Trump hasn't yet released to the American public either the memo or everything he knows about the insurance policy, SVR analyst in this report explain, is due to the massive amount of time it has taken to examine the gargantuan electronic files, emails, telephone calls / texts / private conversations, etc., gathered and held by the NSA and used to blackmail the U.S. Congress by both the Bush and Obama-Clinton regimes, but that President Trump ordered destroyed in defiance of a deep state-orchestrated U.S. federal court order telling the NSA to keep them, and which Trump-loyal NSA Director Admiral Rogers defied and told this deep state court that the NSA sincerely regrets its failure to keep these blackmail files, and as all good soldiers have done throughout the centuries, fell on his own sword to protect his leader by handing in his resignation. SVR analysts conclude this report by stating Admiral Rogers, upon his leaving the NSA, will, without a doubt, take control of the vast and secretive private spy network being created by President Trump to destroy his deep state enemies once and for all, and one of whose first hires might possibly be the British teenage master spy Kane Gamble, that is if he is able to be talked out of leaving his bedroom spy lair. When somebody challenges you, fight back. Be brutal, be tough. President Donald J. Trump.